Welcome to another episode of Them Frames That Make Us. We've got a good one here. I'm joined by New York-based portrait photographer Travis Keyes, who's known for his celebrity portraiture, his portraiture of politicians, and everyone else in between. He's also an Adobe ambassador, flying the flag for everything that they're doing with their photo editing software, and he's superb. His work is absolutely superb, and he's in to share three images: a professional image, a personal image, and an image that no one has ever seen before. And he's going to tell us the stories behind them. Before we get into it, if I could ask you to kindly hit a like on this, do subscribe, and tap the bell icon as well. And enjoy the show. This is Them Frames That Make Us with Travis Keyes. Travis, thanks for joining me.
It's such a pleasure, man. I'm psyched to be here today.
Excellent. So we're going to look at three of your images, and you're going to share with us, the stories behind them and why they've played kind of a significant role in your photographic journey. We've got a professional image, a personal image, and also an image that no one's ever seen before. And I think we'll start with
three images, but I love the way you put us on the spot. Like, I think the greatest challenge to any photographer is like editing or choosing their own stuff. To pick three is like, oh, maybe I choose this one or that one. You put a big challenge just on that alone.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah, I mean, curating one's work is like one of the hardest challenges of actually being the easy part is making the images. Deciding which ones to put out into the field is, yeah, it's an absolute nightmare. So yeah, I know it's a bit psychologically abusive of me to get you to pick only three, but you've done it. We're here, so I appreciate that.
First part done.
Good. We'll start with the professional one, which obviously here this a beautiful portrait. And yeah, if you just want to tell us how this all came about and the story behind it.
Yeah, so I was hired to shoot for this magazine, and it was a young actor at the time, Cameron Boyce, who had been on a bunch of Nickelodeon stuff and Adam Sandler movies and stuff like that, and was a big up and comer. So we were shooting in New York City, and we were going to do like a 5 picture spread in the magazine. And he was just gung ho to do everything. I brought all these different props and all these different stuff, and at one point I'm like, just run down the city streets, and scream, and he did it in traffic, but this one was kind of like it was a moment, and it's what I love about photography is when you can just see things that weren't there and stuff like that. I saw this construction scaffolding, and it had this net that was ripped, and I had him stand on one side and my assistant stand on the other with a strobe, and we took this shot, and it was very unplanned, and it was just something we saw on the streets of Fifth Avenue and right in the middle of New York City, and kind of people watching what the hell are these guys doing, and we took this picture.
I love that. I love the sometimes when you're doing a professional shoot, like it's you kind of get in your own head sometimes, or at least I do. So it's always great when shots like this, where you're just kind of spontaneous and you're like, okay, what's going on around us, and especially if you've got a subject that is open to kind of going off, maybe the plan. And it sounds like this is what happened here. That they came with
Yeah,
an open mind, and that made it.
it was one of those things. I mean, he was just gung ho to do anything, and it was such a shame. And I don't want to bring things down, but one of the reasons I really like this shot is I got along with him so well, and we were texting, and we are going to do another shoot together. And freakishly, at the age of 19, a month later after I shot him, he passed away. And it was such a sad thing. And this picture kind of like was one of the last shots of him. So it was it means a lot to me, and it means it's a special thing, and I think that's one of the great things about being a photographer is if we have these couple circles. When we first start, we're very creative, and then we start learning the technical side, and then suddenly we're trying to figure out, oh wait, if I slow down my this and I do that, and it's like, and the creative gets lost. And once we kind of master our craft again and understand the camera and all stuff like that, the creative circle, so they come in sync and like that. But when they're out of sync, we're a mess. So it's like once we can start really stop worrying about the technical and just start getting in love with the creative again. That's when we start noticing stuff that we wouldn't like. That's why I walked down the street and said, this is going to be a great place for a shot.
Hey, I mean, it's so sad that 19 is no age
Yeah.
to pass away. I mean, I don't want to kind of put you on the spot, and it's fine if you don't want to answer it, but like, this is technically an awesome image. Like, you've got the framing around the eye, that the lighting is is wonderful, and I can understand from a professional standpoint that, I'd look at that if I made that and think this is awesome, and I'd enjoy that image. I'm just wondering, like, only just a month apart and hearing the news that he'd passed away, did that in any way change the relationship with the image? Did it make you more proud of you made it? Was it harder to look at it? Like, how did that impact you?
I think it definitely, at first when I first heard it, I was like, "Oh my gosh," it's like, and then I was like, "Geez, these are some of the last photos of him," and then I had a lot of people reaching out to want to use it and different stuff like that. So it became me kind of like pulling back the image and like, "Oh, this is not, it's not a death image. This is, kind of." And it was the fan pages that really embraced it and wanted to show it, and I'm like, "That's okay," because they were celebrating his life and stuff like that, but, anything that kind of got ugly about wanting to, monopolize on those images, I just wasn't a part of. For me, yeah, I love the image, and there's even some from that shoot that I haven't put out yet, and I could have chosen that for for to throw up here as one of my images, but, that I've never seen before, but, it's a moment, that's is why I remember why I love photography, because our photos become these archives and pieces that get left behind of moments in time that have become very special. And for me, that's what I fell in love with photography, is that we have this chance to really take these moments, and it's not so much just about the subject; it's also about the way each photographer and everything they've experienced in their life brings to the viewpoint. So it's two people in that moment of time that are sharing a moment and creating. So that's what I think is so special about photography.
Completely agree, and I think with this image as well, just from my personal standpoint, sorry, is you've done great on your part, but I think he as a subject has done great on his part as well. Like, he's really into the frame that you're trying to create. He's a handsome chap. We'll say that is a handsome young man, and yeah, so I think if someone saw that was either a fan or a family member, I think they'd remember him, in the best of him. This is a very good representation of that person, and it's something that you've been able to be a part of and you've been able to deliver. So yeah, I think
And this
although
goes also
tragedy is
with,
involved, I think it's beautiful that this is part of your body of work.
yeah. And you bring up a good point. Is like, when we're dealing with professional actors that understand, compression and how a camera sees in differently way, they're able to kind of, interact, and especially when they trust the photographer and are game to play. It's like I've done headshots for people that have been CEOs, and they're just so awkward on camera and stuff like that. So if you get an actor that's not only game to play but understands all that, it's a joy. It becomes this wonderful, merging of creative minds, and it becomes some of the funnest times that funnest is that word, funnest, or even funner. Some of the best moments we have interacting with. Sorry. I'm just gonna make up words. Shakespeare did it. Why can't I? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's I think that's what makes it so fun, is when it's people that trust each other and create and want to push those boundaries. That's what makes it so much fun.
Awesome, dude. Well, if it's all right with you, going to move on to the next image, and this is a personal one with someone that no one's ever heard of before. That's a joke, just in case, if it's just happens to be one of the most iconic photographers of our generation and generations before, and definitely generations going forward as well, Annie Leibovitz. So, what we got going on here? This is a lovely picture of you both. What's the story behind this one?
This is one of those full circle images, and it's one of the reasons I kind of love it so much, because uh, for a long time, I was kind of lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't, I did many things. I worked first in film and TV, and then I opened up bars and nightclubs, and just was not happy. And I walked away from it all, and I kind of one day kind of discovered photography, and I went back to school, and I graduated from ICP, the International Center of Photography, and our graduate commencement speaker was Annie Leibovitz, and that was an incredible moment. And I actually went up to her afterwards and was like, "Can I get a selfie with you?" She's like, "Here, let me do it." So she took the actual, phone from my hand, and took the video. And I'm like, "Oh, I got an original Annie Leibovitz headshot, with a picture from her." which was amazing. And that alone, I almost shared that image. But 10 years later, uh, in my career, I've gotten to a point where, I do a lot of different things. And I was out and I was asked to, and I was introducing Annie Leibovitz. And I got up on stage. I said, you know what? 10 years ago, we met and you took the picture. This time, I'm going to take the picture. And I turned around and the crowd was behind us. And I took that picture. Well, actually, that was right in the audience, and then I actually took a selfie as well of her and I. But this was the picture right prior to that.
What was that experience like? I mean, being spoken to by Annie and then getting to a point in your career where you're introducing her, which, let's not downplay that. You're a modest guy, that's fine, but I don't have to be modest on your behalf. Like, that's awesome. Like, being asked to introduce someone as iconic as Annie Leibovitz is like, dreams in most photographers' minds. So what was that like just being on stage and looking at the people and saying, I'm the person who's introducing this person. What is it like?
I can't tell you how many times that I have had and still do have imposter syndrome. Um, it's one of the things I think, it's like, wow, I don't deserve to be on the stage or have these people listen to me. Even when I'm giving a lecture or a workshop or something like that, I'm like, why are these people coming to hear me? Or like, what do I have to do? It's like I've been around some legends like Neil Leifer and stuff like that, and sitting there, it's sitting in these rooms with people and talking to them and becoming friends with them now. That I doubt myself a lot of the times, and I think anybody at any level does that. And for me, it was something that I now talk about quite openly, and whether it's on a podcast or a workshop or even something like right now at this moment, is really saying, you know what, never doubt yourself. Being modest is one thing, but understanding and trusting yourself and believing in yourself is so important, because you know what makes photography so amazing is, like, even when you put 10 photographers in a room and you say photograph that apple, 10 people are going to view, well, let's put it 8 or 9 are going to do something, going to want to be original and do something, and one other person's going to watch what the other people do and copy them. But I
Yeah.
think what's so beautiful is that's what makes photography beautiful. Every moment in your life, every second, everything we've experienced is unique to you. No one will ever have walked in your shoes or experienced or have the experiences. So that's when I talked about that interaction. You may be taking a portrait of someone, but you behind that camera is telling the language and bringing your experience and your compassion, your empathy, your tragedies, all to that storytelling. So everybody tells a different story. So you can't doubt yourself. You have to believe in yourself, and it's okay to feel like, wow, there's better people. There'll always be. Like, if I didn't look at someone and go, man, I wish I took that shot, it'd be pretty vapid. It was like I love seeing shots that I wish I took, and it keeps me growing as a photographer. So every day, it's like to be on that stage with Annie, to bring it back around. It was a full circle moment, and I definitely soaked it in and
Yeah.
loved it. But I felt, honored and like, wow, this is maybe I'm doing the right thing, and I'm in an industry I was supposed to be in. So it was a self gratifying moment. I was very proud to be there. That to say, wow, 10 years later, at that moment when that photo was taken. I'm still in this industry, still love what I do, and want to give back as much as possible and share. And it's been really special. It saved my soul. If it wasn't for photography, I'd be a lost camper.
That's beautiful, man. I'm wondering because, with the first image we looked at, you've got like the lighting setup, you're using the props, and so there's lots of things to think about. This particular image with you and Annie is, without taking anything away from it, it's a more simple approach. But because it's Annie Leibovitz, are you kind of getting nervous? Like, oh, what if I mess up even just a simple shot of us both? Like, are you overthinking that process? Like, what if she
Luckily,
starts critiquing
no. Sometimes, like, you don't want to, like, with someone like that, you feel blessed that they even say yes to the photo. So it's more about, I just want to get it quick and not bother
Yeah,
them.
before they
Uh,
change
you
their
know,
mind?
so,
Yeah.
so you don't think too much about it, other than like, I can't mess this up because there's one shot. If I don't get it, then I don't have the shot or something like that. But it's just a quick moment, and it's like I almost chose another one where I actually shot Bill Clinton, and it was early when I was first starting out as a photographer, and I was a nervous wreck. absolute nervous wreck, setting up the lights and all this kind of stuff. And, the Secret Service comes in prior and says, well, you only have this amount of time. They check the room and stuff like that. And I'm like, geez. And he walked in, he had a gravitas about him, and photographing him, I was a nervous wreck. And there was a second right before I was going to shoot him, he went over and stood against this wall. And there was this wonderful wood engraving of a ship behind him. And it was at the 21 Club in New York, which no longer exists. Unfortunately, it was a famous, famous place. And he's just kind of looking down introspectively, and I shot that picture, and then I went through and shot the pictures with all the lights and stuff like that. That's actually the picture that I got used, and that I'm known for because of that shot. And it's one of those moments is like we have to be aware of our surroundings and what's there, and be able to look beyond. And that was a great moment for me. So it's like sometimes you just see that you see it, and you have to allow yourself to see it.
Nice, man. Well, I think it came out great. It's well lit. Everyone looks happy. She doesn't look, sometimes with people of interest, famous people, they can sometimes look like they're bothered being in the picture, but she seems genuinely happy to be there, man. So I think that's great. Okay, so we've got one more, and
Yeah.
this is an image that has never been seen before. So am I fair to say this is a world exclusive? Can I say that? Am I allowed to say
Yeah,
that?
this is
Is that
exclusive for you, my friend. It's just it's especially I went into the archives when you said something that hadn't been shown, and I'm like, all right, what? And this one kind of like, it's like, we have. Yeah, I think in our archives, what's great about that, if you keep your images, and as you develop as a photographer, images that you once thought were terrible or that didn't work or they can have a new life, and especially as we learn as editors, and our skills become better, we see things, and we're like, wow, this one's really kind of good. I always kind of love this image, but it wasn't what we were going for when we were shooting the original one. So it just didn't make the cut, and it's been sitting on an archive. So I love going back, and you made me kind of go back, and I pulled this one out. I'm like, yeah, I really like this one. So I gave it a little fresh new
so?
life to bring on here with a new edit.
So, so for those who aren't aware, who is this gentleman, and what was the kind of the setup in terms of why were you photographing them?
So, this one is actually another famous photographer, and I felt very lucky to meet him. He was a rock star in his own right, Mick Rock, and there's an incredible documentary that you can watch on him. He lived fast and furious. Emily, if you didn't know who he was, you would just think he was the lead singer of like Led Zeppelin or something like that. He just lived fast and furious, but he photographed so many incredible musicians, and he did a lot, most of like David Bowie stuff, Lou Reed. He shot that famous Queen cover for the album with all four of their heads on that. He's just an icon of rock and roll imagery, and I got to shoot him and meet him, and he was everything I expected to be and more. And he just marched to his own drum and was just it was a light. And he lived a very long life. He passed away a couple years ago, but he is pretty special, and that so to meet another kind of icon, and I've been very lucky to meet some incredible photographers in my life that have influenced my work, and to talk with them and actually get to shoot pictures of them is quite an honor. So this was an image that I shot of him that uh, I think usually we always look for the open eyes and all that, kind of stuff like that, but this one, was not that.
Yeah, I think obviously, yeah, his eyes are closed, but because he's kind of got his fist gripped and his I don't know, he just seems very relaxed. And what was he like around you? Like, was he relaxed while you photo? What kind of Because I always think this with photographers. Like, I had a photo shoot recently. Someone photographed me, and I was a mess. I was a terrible subject, but because I don't know how to be that. Like, so it can sometimes be a bit awkward when photographers photograph photographers. How was he as a subject?
He was incredible. Here's my question to you: did you shoot self portraits of yourself?
Yes, and that's fine. But yeah, but when a photographer's photographing me, I forget everything. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I even here?
Yeah, no, I kind of asked because it's one thing to be a photographer and shoot other people, but when you put yourself in front of that camera, understanding the frame and what it does and how you look, it's like I think I shoot so many pictures of myself that I'm kind of a little more comfortable in the frame. and someone that's not used to
Yeah.
that and behind it, he obviously was very comfortable. He was very comfortable in his skin. He was a rock star. He just kind of just, I mean, he every bit of piece of him. I mean, from the sweatbands around his thing to his pocket, overflowing with stuff like that is if you saw pictures of him, that's who he is. He just was. He just eh, he's one of those special people that if you make a character or something caricature of someone, it's him. It's like he was this rock and roll photo person. He was larger than life, truly larger than life. So he was very warm and receptive, and I think he enjoyed until the day he died photography and who he was and what he did, and he lived life to the fullest. He certainly went out there and he always looked like he had this great energy about him, and certainly the brief times I met him, he did, and his energy was infectious.
So you said when we first looked at this that, the good thing about reflecting on archives is an image that you maybe didn't feel was a winner can then become it with time and for multiple reasons. So I'm just, when this was first made, why was it kind of just a standard shot? And what's kind of changed maybe within you, maybe the way that you see your own work, that you see people where you were like, okay, it's time to bring this out of the archives and put it to the public?
A lot of times when we shoot images, and whether I'm shooting a book cover for a celebrity or whether it's PR shots, so we do a lot of shots, and only one or two of those shots will get picked. And if it's a magazine spread, maybe five shots. But we spend sometimes you only get 5 minutes with a person, sometimes you get a couple hours or a day with them. Um, uh, and a lot of those shots will just go into an archive and never get seen. They're just you can have 20 great shots, but only one or two of them will get picked and shown, or go out commercially and stuff like that. So these other ones just kind of sit in hibernation, and you move on to the next shots, and you kind of forget about them, and then you have a day where like, I'm not doing anything, or a month where like, oh, I haven't not done anything, let me go into the archives and see what's there. And sometimes I've shot pictures of people like I didn't realize, I shot early shots of Zendaya, and I'm like, oh my god, I have early shots of her. I didn't realize she became this huge star. It's like so it's like you just never know what is gonna become of things, and going back, it's like I didn't realize that, years ago, I shot Bryan Cranston at the Tonys, and I have this wonderful shot, and going through the archives, I found it again, and put that up recently. It's like, so I think it's kind of fun to keep these, and the worst thing is, like, always back up your stuff, because I've had hard drives die and lost archives of stuff,
Yeah.
so always back up your stuff, because you never know what treasures you have in that chest.
I actually just published an article about this. I think I looked in one of my cloud storage accounts and I had like over 25,000 images. And I was like, touch wood, and I don't want to tempt fate, but what would I do if I woke up and just that company had just gone? Everything had been destroyed. I mean, the first thing I'd do is cry. I'd scream and cry. That's what I'd do. But then I thought, well, okay, I also have them, but I have them backed up to multiple accounts, and I also have some on some hard drives. But then I was thinking, well, what if they all? I just went worst case scenario. What if everything failed? And then I came to the conclusion, what would be 10 images? And this is hard, I know, but what would be 10 images that would be just life destroying if I never saw them again? And then I printed them. And I know that they're not necessarily disaster proof either, but I was like, at least I have full control. It's not the hard drive, it's not the cloud company. I'm responsible for keeping those safe and sound. So I printed 10 images, and that was hard, but yeah,
I think that's a beautiful
yeah.
exercise, though. I mean, to like the 10 images that, that shaped me, or that are that important to me to have up. I think I might actually do that myself. Now that you've said that, I think that's a beautiful thing. What's kind of amazing is, each year is revisit that 10. It's like, are they still the same 10, or is there a new one, or you've dropped one and added in a one? I
Yeah.
think that'd be a cool little project to see year to year. My 10.
And hopefully, probably not, but hopefully somehow I just have, $25,000 change just lying around where I'll just print every single one of the images. In that. But until that day comes, I have to budget and, just keep it to 10 or 20, something like that.
Well, it's a lot like
But
music,
listen,
It's
dude,
like, there's 10 songs that were my favorite songs growing up, and probably maybe a couple of those I'm, like, ashamed that, "Oh, man, Dexy's Midnight Runners, Come On Eileen, it's not on my top 10 anymore." It's a good song, but it's but I'm not gonna put it on my, I got my desert island 10.
That is true. That's true. Well, listen, dude, I appreciate you taking the time to go through these images. They're absolutely excellent images, and they've all got wonderful stories about behind them. You know, partly heartbreaking, but also beautiful at the same time, and also very inspiring. You know, so I appreciate you kind of taking us through this micro journey of what's been your photographic experience. Before I let you go, just let us know what you're up to. If there's anything you want people to know about, you know, I know you're a movie maker as well as a photographer and all that stuff. You know, what's going on with you away from all of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting times, you know. It's like I think what's so beautiful about what the world we live in now, it's like the new renaissance of creativity. The tools are getting smaller, they're getting faster and more advanced. So I love all the kind of creator tools that I'm doing. So I'll be doing some new podcasts about my filmmaking. I'll be doing some stuff about personal journey, about inspiration and about film. And photography, but you can check me out on my Instagram, which got my link tree to everything that I sort of do. So it's TWKEYES on Instagram. It's got a little link tree in my bio, so that kind of keeps up to date on what I'm doing. But I had my first film that I produced that came out in January called Bulls. We're working on the second one right now, and we're going to start a podcast, Just Make the Fucking Movie, that talks about the journey of really kind of not waiting for permission to do things, and that's in life, photography and everything like that. And if you start waiting for everybody to say yes, you should do this, it just won't get done. It may not get done like you want it to, but you have to have that instinct of just I'm gonna make it happen, and make sure that you follow up and do it. So that's sort of my mindset nowadays is like, all right, you know what? It may not be perfect, but I'm going to go out and do it and stop the excuses of waiting for other people to say, hey, we're like, oh, if I just had this camera, if I just had this, or if this one person is like, you won't always have everything you need, and everything's going to go wrong. But if you go out and push yourself to do things, I think that's when we create the best kind of stuff. So hopefully that's where we're going.
Awesome, man. That I feel just inspired by that. Listening to that myself, I'm thinking I'm going to go do my to-do list as soon as I'm going to get everything done. So I appreciate that, man. It's inspiring, and yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for taking the time to be here.
Dude, it's been a pleasure, and thanks for putting me to task on this. It was I said, pulling 3 images is a very tough thing for a photographer. So thank you for putting me to the challenge.
All good, man. You take care. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode just as much as I enjoyed speaking to Travis. Please do go and support him. I will leave links down to where you can find him on the internet in the description. So go and hit those and hit him up and let him know how much you enjoyed the episode and how much you enjoy his photography as well. And again, as a quick reminder, if you did enjoy this episode of Them Frames That Make Us, hit a like, do subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you're notified when another episode is next published. Until the next one, this is Them Frames That Make Us. I'm Dan. See ya.